fans has turned previous derby matches ugly.
It's termed a Category A match due to the nature of our opponents, the anticipated attendance.
Tynecastle Stadium, where the match will be held, holds a capacity crowd of 18,000 and both teams have a strong casual following. Undercover officers from Lothian and Borders Police have already begun gathering intelligence as to whether or not any of the known troublemakers are planning to go to the game.
Over the last few years, as I say, there have been instances of disorder. We have prevented disorder on a number of occasions by keeping the groups apart. There's little doubt in my mind that these groups are formed up on these days to clash with each other and violent disorder in the city centre.
Almost 200 officers will be involved in policing today's match. That number will include 3 public safety units headed by Inspector Jim Baird.
Right, welcome. Today we've got the football match between Heart of Midlothian and Hibernian football clubs at Tynecastle. Remember, we're operating under the European Convention of Human Rights, and all the actions that we take will be proportionate, legal, accountable and necessary. Our policing style will be, as always for these matches, firm, fair and robust. Everybody clear?
Intelligence has been coming in over the previous days to suggest both sets of casuals are planning a fight.
We all know that there's a group who are intent on causing bother. They're not particularly interested in the football, and that's their main target, okay?
Anyone requiring AST, radio or CS, come up now, please. John, you get it.
The guys are just being issued with their body armour and their radios and CS gas. Now this is a Category A match, which means it's the highest level of security possible. So if there is any trouble at all today, these guys should be able to deal with it.
What we've got today is a full PSU with 3 vans, each comprising a sergeant each and 8 PCs. In addition to that, we've got 5 horses out today and 2 dogs. The dogs are attached to one of the vans. Primarily concerned with public safety and dealing with any disorder.
On match days, I sometimes be employed as a spotter. We'll start early in the day, gathering real-time intelligence from licensed premises, pubs, train stations. We'll go wherever we think the hooligans will be.
Okay, I've just had a phone call from the inspector saying that they've got intelligence, credible intelligence, that there's a group of Hearts casuals that are going to be forming up on the east side of the city centre, and thereafter it's their intention to make their way towards the ground, and the intelligence states that they're going to cause as much disruption as they can.
It's now a race to find the Hearts casuals before they get to the stadium. The officers visit a number of places the troublemakers have been known to frequent on match days.
It is a game of cat and mouse, and throughout match days you'll locate people, you'll frequently lose them and have to relocate them.
Back at the stadium, the match commander, Superintendent Terry Powell, is briefing his team.
We've got a section, it's Hearts Hibs, the local derby. This week we've got a full Hibs contingent. The Roseburn is sold out, about 3,500 Hibs supporters. There has been some intelligence that there might have been some Hibs fans have got some Hearts tickets. We don't know how clear that is, but it's always a possibility with them all being in Edinburgh.
Anybody got pre-book tickets? Pre-book complimentary, figure me the front, please.
By now, the rest of the shift have arrived, and Terry Powell briefs the officers with the latest intelligence.
OK, today, Hearts v Hibs, the local derby. We've already had a fair amount of intelligence in terms of Hearts casuals up to something, and also Hibs casuals congregating at a couple of pubs a fair way out from the ground. The Roseburn bar's pretty chock-a-block. They're moving on to the Horseshoe, so a lot of the bars for the Hearts fans are very busy, and we are anticipating some form of trouble today. It's going to be a near capacity crowd today. The Hibs end, the Roseburn end, 3,500, it's fully sold out. It's a zero tolerance policy. I expect fair but robust policing. If there are any issues out there, if there are people behaving in a manner that is unacceptable, I want them out, I want them arrested. I want it stamped out completely so that we set the scene at this stage of the season as to what we will tolerate.
Right, Hearts Hibs today. Everybody got their steward instructions? We'll run through the normal briefing. No smoking in the main stand. That includes the stairwells and the toilets. Anybody going to tell me what's the stand you're sitting in?
White.
Stand behind you.
Yellow. Purple.
Thank you. Racist remarks, as you're aware, it's now an arrestable offence. So any problems with that, we'll pass that on to the police.
The game hasn't even started and already there's trouble. Just a mile from the stadium and the PSU van has been alerted to a group of young lads. All are searched in case they're carrying weapons. Their details are taken and their faces are caught on police camera.
They've been brought to our attention by dog handlers. The dog handlers have received verbal abuse from this lot as they've been driving along the road. And just in response to that, we've stopped them just to see who they are and where they're going. And it would appear that they are going to the football match.
They've all got tickets, apparently.
Yeah. We always ask anyway, you know, what's your intentions, where are you going, who do you support? So it's just part of the intelligence gathering process that we go through.
The lads are warned about abusive language. No arrests are made and they're allowed to carry on to the game.
I mean, at one time the fighting used to take place within the grounds, now it's outside. With the advent of CCTV, better policing, better stewarding, all-seated stadium, we've actually taken the problem and put it outside.
There's information now coming in from various different pubs and people on the ground that the folk that we're looking for are leaving various pubs on the west side, are starting to assemble. We'll move up along Shandon. What we'll do is try and disrupt them from that, turn them over under Section 60.
Section 60, which the police had to apply for to use today, gives officers the power to stop and search people at will.
We're out in plain clothes, looking for ringleaders from the hooligan groups concerned. Once we find them, from their demeanour, we can usually tell whether something's planned or not. They'll be agitated on their mobile phones.
Suddenly our PSU van was called to a large group which had gathered not far from the ground.
Section 60, please.
2 other PSU vans are brought in to help deal with the crowd.
Okay, it's 15 minutes till kick-off and the police control room had radioed through to the vehicle that we were in, saying there was a group of between 50 and 60 football casuals, they called them, heading towards the ground. They've brought the dog teams in and they're basically using them to control the crowd. They're filling out personal forms, filming every single person to try and get any intelligence on them.
What we've got here is a group of people, some of whom we have known for causing trouble before and have previous convictions for football violence.
There's some familiar faces in the crowd. This is Andrew Blantz, a known football hooligan with a list of convictions for violence and disorder. And this is Sean Welsh, another face known to the police, again with a list of convictions.
My opinion is there are a large group of people who are intent on causing violence, and with information there's another group coming to meet them that's being intercepted by their officers. My plan at the moment is we're getting them all checked and use full use of the Section 60 powers we've got to make sure they've got no weapons and we know who they all individually are. And we're going to escort them to the ground with a marching cordon to stop them breaking away, fragmenting and avoiding causing trouble elsewhere.
Back at the stadium, the match commander is worried the group of Hibs supporters now being escorted to the ground will be confronted by opposing fans.
We've got 2 groups of football casual elements. We've got a smaller group of Hearts casuals who we've got penned in at the moment on the Wheatfield side, and those with tickets we're getting into the ground as quickly as possible. Those without tickets will be made to disperse. We have a larger problem with a group of Hibs casuals coming down towards the ground who allegedly have tickets, but we can see from the Roseburn stand it's pretty full, so there's about 100 of them. We've got them well corralled at the moment with mounted section and police support units.
You're going up there to the turnstiles, right?
Right, where you go now, boss?
Here they are, they're coming on the monitor. There should be the prison wagons at the back of the group.
Wheatfield Street, Wheatfield Place, right now. That's the serial coming in now, Inspector.
Let's go.
Suddenly we were alerted to yet another smaller group of casuals who'd previously been antagonising the police.
That made off, the first call that came in from the police was because this group had confronted the police that were down there, stood up to them and basically challenged them to fight. They've since made off. We're going to go and try and catch them around it.
These guys were part of a crowd which had been causing trouble earlier with the police. They'd managed to break away from the cordon which had been put up, but they've managed to find them again. Now, the match kicked off about 10 minutes ago. These guys clearly have no intention of going to the football whatsoever. They're here for a fight.
OK, I want them dispersed. I want them dispersed and hard. Where are our spotters? Where the bloody hell are they? I've not had anything from them. But I'm watching a bloody match.
It's now half-time. All the fans are in the stadium, and those deemed to be causing trouble earlier have been contained by the police outside. What's happening now is the match commander is meeting with the public safety unit commanders to try and work out a strategy for keeping the fans apart once the final whistle blows.
It's now well into the second half, and everyone seems to be behaving themselves inside the stadium. It's a chance for match commander Terry Powell to take a quick break.
Ask Davey, is this tea or coffee? Or bloody dishwater.
The final whistle blows. Outside, the police have set up cordons. Two groups of fans leaving a stadium at the same time can be the most volatile part of match day. It's essential they're kept apart as much as possible. Those giving the police trouble are arrested immediately.
We did have a number of casual elements who were, as in their own words, up for it and were going to cause trouble and were out for a confrontation. Our information was exceptional today in terms of where they were and where they were heading, and that, allied to the fact that we had sufficient resources out in vans, led to us being able to contain them. We just keep splitting them up, and that's the way we try and do it. Split them up, keep them moving, make sure they don't come back in again and confront each other.
It's 6 o'clock and the streets seem to be relatively quiet. All the fans, both Hibs and Hearts, seem to have gone home. Even the hardcore element, which was causing the police so much trouble earlier on, also seemed to have disappeared thanks to the level of officers on the streets. But it's not always like that.
Lothian Road on a previous Derby day in August 2002. The match is over, but for the casuals, their fun is just beginning.
This is very well organised. They've avoided the police operation on the day. They've formed up in groups. A lot of these people from the Hibs hooligan group, again, have been known to us for a number of years, since the early to mid-80s. You'll see a number of them actually engaged in violent disorder, but others will stand in the periphery and not get involved at all.
There's a lot of dancing around. I mean, as much as there's quite a few people there, there actually isn't that much of violence.
Yes, there is a lot of what we refer to as pavement dancing, which is can be quite amusing. The end result of this incident was that 12 persons were identified. Of those 12, 5 were convicted. It's always been there. It goes through quiet spells and busy spells. Yes, we're in the middle of a particularly busy spell at the moment.
It's not just Edinburgh which has witnessed the ugly side of football. These pictures are from police cameras taken when trouble spilled out onto the streets of Glasgow, when Rangers played Manchester United in a friendly match last year. And violence erupted again last week when Celtic took on Rangers at Ibrox. 100 fans from both sides went on the rampage through the city centre. One man who spent the last 10 years studying the rise of the football casual firsthand is Dougie Brimson. He's now a successful author. His books on football violence have sold around the world.
The big thing, and it's the point that everybody misses when they talk about hooliganism, is that it is the best fun. It is the most amazing fun. To go to the other end of the country with a group of your mates